drawn by force field of resurrection long enough yet. Things like skin color, social class, ethnicity, sexual orientation, and even religion are now seen for the accidents that they are. Of themselves, they never reveal love, the love core, not even close. But this true self cannot find or know God without bringing everybody else along the same ride. It is one great big finding and one great being found in all at all the same time. Diamonds, once soft black carbon, become beautiful and radiant while lightening under pressure. The true pattern, the big circuit, has now been revealed and exposed, like a treasure hidden in a field. You did not find the great love except by finding yourself too, and you cannot find your true self without falling into the great love. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. All right, I'm ready. Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. But I say love, it is a flower, and you, its only seed. It's the heart afraid of breaking that never learns to dance, and the dream afraid of waking and never takes a chance. It's the one who won't be taken, who cannot seem to give, and the soul afraid of dying that never learns to live. Oh, when the night has been too lonely and the road has been too long, and you think that life is only for the lucky and the strong. Well, just remember, in the winter, far beneath the bitter snow, the seed that with the sun's love in the spring becomes a rose.
Thank you to both of you. That was lovely. So this morning, we light our candle for that seed within that's just waiting to sprout. Some of them have already sprouted. Have you seen? Have you seen the flowers in your neighborhood? Anybody been to the poppy fields? Ah, lovely, yes. So I heard on the radio today that the peak was last week. However, what I know about those poppies is that the difference between the week of the peak and the week after, there's nothing you can see that's any different, really. So if you haven't gone, you should go now. Go now. It's lovely. All right, so let me tell you about what I did on Friday night. I went to a backyard birthday party. And the couple that lived at this house, they'd done a lot of work. They'd really turned their backyard into this little oasis that's perfect for parties. A couple seating areas, a fire pit, a little bit of grass, these beautiful flowers and archways. And oh my gosh, you could just sit out there forever, right? And as she was giving me the tour, she said, she pointed out these little flowers in one corner of the planter, and they're just little clumps, kind of low to the ground. They're called Johnny Jump-Ups. They look like little baby pansies, really tiny. And she said, I think I planted those like 5 years ago and then never saw them again. But after this deep rain, they all showed up. She says, I don't even remember really when I planted them, but here they are. And isn't that, of course, the metaphor for life? We are planting seeds, ideas all the time in our own consciousness. We're putting out into the world things that we may or may not know we're doing, and they will bloom in time. Nature has its way of nourishing and flourishing that which needs to grow. And so I'm going to ask you this morning to take a moment and think about what are the dormant seeds within you? Think back to maybe dreams that you had of traveling somewhere, or maybe it's an unfinished project, or maybe there's a sense of something you want to discover or explore. What is it in you that has not yet flowered, that maybe you've even forgotten that you planted? What did your 7-year-old self want out of life? What did your 17-year-old self think would be delightful? What about your 27-year-old self? You can see how we have these desires, we have these dreams, we have this direction that we're pulled towards, and then of course life happens and we get rerouted, or maybe we decide that we have to wait, right? We'll travel when the kids are out of college and we have a little money back in the bank. Or, when I meet that someone, then I'll be ready to switch careers. Or maybe there's a job I wanted to do, but somebody told me I should do something else and be more stable and sensible. What are those things in you that have been planted that could be awakened, that could be nourished by a deep rain of your spiritual practice, of your conscious choice, of simply being open to the possibilities that are already within you? I mean, you're free to go out and find new dreams and desires, but I'll bet you there's at least one in there that might benefit from your attention. this seasonal cycle of the sleep of winter and the waking up of spring, and then the slow fade from summer into autumn, and then repeat, right? This is nature's natural cycle of life. And we are that, right? So we too have our cycles, you know. In a given day, we sleep, we rest, we wake up, we fade out in the evening, we sleep again. So for some of us, we do that cycle twice a day. Those naps in the afternoon are lovely. You know, the farmer has 2 planting cycles of planting and harvesting, prepping, planting, harvesting. Spring itself comes around once a year. So this is a natural pattern that is in all of life, and we are life expressing. So the title today is Spring Forth. You know, and I was thinking of, as I wrote in the summary in the e-blast about, you know, flowers and budding trees and butterflies and kittens and, you know, everything that blooms in the spring, to spring forth. So I went looking in Ernest Holmes' writings, Science of Mind, for spring. There's not one thing in there anywhere about the season. I found the word spring, but he uses it differently. It's not the season, it's the wellspring of life. So, for example, he says, spirituality may be defined as an atmosphere of good, a realization of God. It springs from within, coming from that never-failing fountain of life which quenches every thirst, whose source is in eternity, the wellspring of self-existence. Talking about the living waters of life, nourishing and giving life to all life. That is the nature of who and what we are. It's an inexhaustible source that's within us that gives us the energy, the inspiration, the ability to act, the ability to think and choose. It's an eternal source, forever, just like spring water, forever bubbling up. He also talked about spring with the idea of how we spring into action. You know, we teach that you treat and move your feet. You do your prayer work, and then you act on it accordingly. And our main quote for today, the power of God within us is like a sleeping giant, which must be awakened, that it may spring into action. That awakening within is our growing awareness of our divine nature. And once we know our divine nature, we act differently. We communicate differently. We see things differently. We change the experience of our lives when we remember that there is also divinity within us. And the third way that he refers to it is as offspring. We are made out of and from life. Just as effect must partake of the nature of its cause, so we must partake of the divine nature from which we spring. And so there's this idea that the growth that happens, the creativity that happens in life, comes through us in the same way in which we came to be, which is that ever-present cycle of waking and sleeping and waking and sleeping. So throughout Science of Mind, throughout all the readings that I did, Ernest Holmes is constantly reminding us that we are to wake up to our divine nature. We don't have to go find God. We don't have to go look for where spirit is in the world. We simply need to wake up to what's already here, to who we already are. When we do that, we start to see things anew. We get a different perspective. We see people differently. Hopefully we act differently towards them. There's more kindness, there's more love, because what is the divine nature within us except the love that we are? And coming from love blesses our life in so many ways. The traditional prayer of blessing the 4 directions when it talks about the east. When you bless the east, the east is the place of spring and new beginnings. It's dawn. It's the birth of new light. It's hope. It's promise. That birth of new light, we speak of being enlightened in a spiritual way, in a spiritual sense. That the light coming in is the light of understanding. And so spring is the season of the light returning from the darkness of winter. And it's this idea that where we have been dormant, where we may have been asleep, where we may simply have been resting, we respond by waking up when there is light. Left to your own devices and burying your alarm clock, you most likely will wake up when there's enough light in the room, even though your eyes are closed. So this process of internal awakening is our internal spring that happens. And what's wonderful about it that I really appreciate is that it's not just once a year. If we only cleaned our house during spring cleaning, it might be difficult to live the rest of the year. It also might be difficult to clean because there would be so much to do. But even those of us that don't like to clean or do it very often, kind of have this urge to make neat. And if you celebrate Passover, you metaphorically and physically brush all the crumbs out of your house to make room for new growth, to remind yourself that creating space to let in the light, to open the windows, is in fact a way of telling your inner self, hey, wake up. Wake up. Let's do something new. Let's be more of who we are and who we want to be. So those seeds that are in you from long ago, or maybe just from last week that you planted and then forgot about. Some of us are more forgetful than others. They're waiting. They're waiting for the deep rain. Or as Ernest Holmes says in Living Science of Mind, he says that spiritual man is a divine being, and when in thought, in contemplation, in imagination, in inward feeling, we consciously turn to the source of our being. The divine pattern which already exists springs forth into the newness of manifestation. So the seed buried below the surface or below the snow actually breaks surface and is visible to us. And isn't that what manifestation is? It's when that thought or idea or desire actually shows up in front of us, actually becomes part of our experience, actually becomes something we can feel in our bodies. This blossoming that happens every year in the earth also happens within us. That's what our symbol is all about. That circle representing no beginning and no end, the infinite circle of life. And that which is above, the invisible, moving into form through spiritual law and our own beliefs. So when we consciously turn our attention to the invisible, to the greater truth, to the energy of life itself, we open ourselves up to greater possibilities, not just of what can happen in the world, but what happens here. And we all know that when something changes here, the world has a tendency to change as well. It's always that way. We are always in a season of spring. As Khalil Gibran says, love is the only flower that grows and blossoms without the aid of the seasons. And we are love. Love is our true nature. Not just love for one another, that's the way we express it, but love as in an appreciation and reverence for the energy of life itself. And if I have a reverence for life, I can have reverence for the life in you as you. Now, nowhere does Ernest Holmes say that we have to like everybody. I do like all of you, just in case you're wondering. But we don't have to, it's not about what we like or our opinions or our discernment, what's good for us, what's not good for us. Those things still happen. That's our human realm of navigating the world. But love itself is the energy that beats our heart, that grows us into our greater potential. Sometimes love requires that we do the hard things because they're the right things for us to move forward. But the plant will not be deterred by the rock in the soil. It will simply grow around. And if it gets to the top and finds cement, it will grow underneath until it finds a crack, and then it will come up. That's the love that life is. That's the energy that comes from within us. That is the voice of our own hearts. That's why it pays us to look back on what we may have dreamed or desired that has not yet come to fruition. Because that dream, that desire, has been planted in the soil of your life, and there is room for it to bloom as you through you. So maybe you've done 100 things that fill you up, that nourish you, that help you to feel expansive and as great a life as you can have. And maybe there's a couple more just waiting. Because you can't really have too much good. Holmes says there's not really too much of a good thing. Your having the good that you desire in your life takes away from no one. Because, in spite of what everybody else might tell you, there is enough to go around and then some of anything, everything. So we're to wake up. Our call is to wake up to that greater love. We look for ways to nourish the energy that is within us, right? You've all been around people that suck the life right out of you. You do not feel energized in their presence. In fact, if you never had to see them again, that might feel like a good thing. And then there are those that you gravitate towards, that maybe you don't even know why. Maybe you walk into a room full of strangers and there's some little bright light over there in the corner that you just go to. Because we are fed by the energy of love. And if that is the vibration that you are walking around with, people will flock to you. And you yourself will have the encounters and the experiences that fill your own heart's desires. Holmes says that the word we speak, the idea we declare, the thought we desire to become a thing, must spring spontaneously from the heart, be vitally known and experienced in every corner of our mind, be vibrantly felt with every part of our being. Love is the fuel that makes law work. So when I plant that seed to grow those tomatoes every summer, if I don't love that plant, if I don't take care of it, if I don't watch out for it, it may or may not survive. Now, it will try on its own, but I can certainly make it easier by watering, by fertilizing, by trimming, by taking the bugs and putting them somewhere else to have lunch. Right? And it's the same within each of us. We do this for each other all the time. We offer a hand, we offer a smile. We check in on each other. Our kids come to visit, we hug them. The cat comes over, you pet her before you throw her off your lap. Cat hair everywhere. Good thing I love my cats. And my white dog, I don't know if you know, but I wear a lot of navy blue and black. My dog seems to like sitting in my lap when I'm dressed for church. It's just what she does. So our ability to nourish the heart within us is that deep rain that brings those dormant seeds up to the surface and into flower. What do you do to nourish the love within you? You hang out with the fun people? Do you make sure you get outside now and again and remind yourself that, oh, the sun feels good when it's not 40 degrees out? Do you pet your pets? If you don't have any pets, do you go to the petting zoo? When was the last time you went to the petting zoo? Does Does anybody ever go to a petting zoo? Okay, good. You have grandkids that want to go to the petting zoo? Take them. Take them. Go to the one where you can milk the cow by yourself. It's really fun. And the cow doesn't mind, usually. Unless you pinch. Don't pinch. So we have this infinite storehouse within us because nature is an infinite storehouse. And as we learn more about what makes our own heart sing, and we spend time in the awareness of the presence of that infinite storehouse, we begin to see the benefits of it. We begin to allow in the good of life that is there for us. We begin to trust that life is for us, that the life that is everywhere present is within us. It's that eternal love that fuels all good things, and it's all good because it's all love. And so this spring, I really do want you, before it turns into summer, to spend a little time with the flowers, whether they're the ones in the backyard or the ones that you see when you go into Trader Joe's. Maybe bring some home. When was the last time you bought yourself flowers? Or you could wait for somebody to send them to you, or you could just deep rain your own desires. They have ranunculus this time of year. Really, really pretty. Really pretty. I live in a neighborhood that's a little dicey around the edges. So some streets are lovely, and some streets need a lot more love. So next to our condos, there's an apartment building, which has a little bit of grass out front, which Bella enjoys. And then next to them is a sad little house right on the boulevard. But, there's a happy family that lives in there. They made a little pond in their front yard amidst the hedges and the weeds that kind of grow in there, too. And then there's a vet's office with a little grass in front. But, that vet's office, they've got all these flowers planted up and down the sidewalk and in front of the building. And it's just this little slice of heaven right on a main street that everywhere else is cement and gas stations and burger joints. And here's this oasis. There's an oasis everywhere if you look. There's an oasis within if you spend time there. So this spring, make sure you look for that. Look for the greenery. Look for the flowers. Look for the love within your own heart. Find the love in the people that you meet. Say hi to them even if they don't say hi to you. I've told you before, we have high schoolers that walk past our place twice a day. We call it the salmon swimming because they all just move in one direction and they do not give way on the sidewalk. Dog, leash, people, bikes, doesn't matter. Here they come. It gives me great pleasure to say hello to them. Half of them don't know what to do with me. They look up startled. Now, if they're talking to their friends, I leave them alone. But if they're just walking face down, looking at the sidewalk because they're, 14, I say hi. It gives me pleasure. And some of them say hi back. Do you think they're going to learn to say hi to people if nobody ever says hi to them? No, be the light. Be the love. Be the deep rain that allows for the room for those dreams, those seeds to blossom, to flower. So I'm going to close today with a poem. Wait, I think I am. There it is. By Tagore. I can't say his first name, so Tagore is the one that you'll hear. He says he was like back in the time of Rumi and Hafiz and some time ago, and he writes this. Who are you, reader, reading my poems 100 years hence? I cannot send you one single flower from this wealth of the spring, one single streak of gold from yonder clouds. Open your doors and look abroad. From your blossoming garden, gather fragrant memories of the vanished flowers of 100 years before. In the joy of your heart, may you feel the living joy that sang one spring morning, sending its glad voice across 100 years. Namaste. Let's pray. I invite you to close your eyes and take that deep breath and turn your attention inward. Follow your breath into your heart space and watch it leave again. Breathing in the air of spring and exhaling anything and everything which is an obstacle to love. For there is truly only one life, and that life is fueled as love. There is only the presence of oneness, and that presence is love. And as love is the life of all that is, it is my life too. It is the life of everyone listening. This energy of love that gives and gives again, that nourishes the seeds of the heart, the dreams, the desires, the love that allows life to flourish and flower everywhere we look. And so looking within, I claim the power of that love to expand my life, to allow me to bloom in ways I have not before, to allow me to nurture not only my own growth, but all those seedlings I see around me. And so in this life, we create space in our garden of life for ourselves, for each other, to grow, to thrive. We tend and nurture and care for this life within, these little sparks and seeds of the heart, in ourselves, in everyone, in the world, on the planet, of the earth and sky. For life is life is life is life, and it is good, for it is love. And that love blesses everything. And I am grateful for the transformation that love brings. Grateful for the hard shells that crack open and the delicate colors and flowers and scents that appear in this world. Life gives to life, and I am that. And for this I am grateful, and knowing that this is true in the mind of God, knowing that life is good and getting better all the time, knowing that life is for each and every one of us. I simply allow this to be, for I know that in this world, in time and space, all things unfold, and all things are love. And so it is. Let's say our affirmation, shall we? You'll find it in your program. I'll ask you to repeat it each line after me. Actually, there's only one line. Here we go. Good springs forth in my life as I recognize the infinite source within. Good springs forth in my life as I recognize the infinite source within. And so it is. All right, let's have a little more music.
Come on, everybody. Especially if you know this one, how can you not, right? Have a little bit of movement. When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, it's something without a warning, love, bears heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, oh, and and I know it's gonna be, yes. Just one look at you, and the world's all right with me. Gonna be a lovely day, lovely day, lovely day. Oh, 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 lovely day, yeah, a lovely day. When the day that lies ahead of me seems impossible to face, and someone else instead of me always seems to know the way, then I look at you, and the world's all right with me. Oh, just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely, lovely day. You know it's gonna be a lovely day, yes. Oh, so glad it's gonna be. Do-do-do-do-do. Hey, hey, hey. Come on, everybody. Then I look at you, oh, and the world's all right with me. Hey, just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day, 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 oh, lovely day, yeah, lovely, lovely, lovely day, oh, it's gonna be, yeah, a lovely day, yeah, yeah, a lovely day. It's gonna be a lovely day.
Yes, it is already a lovely day. Lovely, lovely. Thank you. One more time for Tina and Jeff on the piano. All right, so in that spirit of dancing and joy and celebration, let's take our offerings for today and know that however you give to this community, financially, with your volunteer time, with your intentions, your prayer work, know that we build a community of love that can only shine its light out into the world. So give yourself a little credit for being a part of something so positive. And join me in saying our prosperity affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now. For those of you here in the room, there are baskets in the back on your way out that you may drop in your contributions. And if you're online, there's a donate button on our website or also in our weekly e-blast. Okay, invitations. Well, before I do invitations, I want to tell you what I did on Saturday night, because I already told you what I did on Friday night. Last night, we had an invitation to go to a concert up at Cal State LA, and so we went with some friends to hear Melissa Etheridge. Now, I don't know how long it's been since you've really listened to a Melissa Etheridge song, but let me remind you, she's a rock and roll star. I mean, there's a couple songs really popular. I love them. I can sing along, but oh my goodness, it's been a while since I've been to a rock concert. How long has it been since you've been to a rock concert? Yeah, exactly. Well, talk about the infinite source of energy within. The concert started at 8. Now, I've told you before, I'm not ashamed to tell you that by 8:30, I'm usually heading upstairs. I may be awake for a while, messing around or reading or something, but I don't usually start my evenings at 8. I haven't really done that since I was like 26. So we get there at 8, and it's interesting how music is energizing, right? To my musicians in the room, you start to play or you start to sing or you start to dance, and all of a sudden, woohoo, I got all the energy in the world. So we stood, we rocked out, we sang along, and I was able to appreciate not just the energy within me that showed up, but the energy in this 61-year-old rock and roll artist who not only is a singer, right? If somebody asks you, you say, oh, Melissa Etheridge is a singer, right? Oh, yeah. And she is a guitar virtuoso. I mean, she played 6 different kinds of guitars like nobody's business. And then she whipped out the harmonica for the chorus of one song. And then she went back and grabbed a second set of drumsticks and wailed on the drums. And I'm thinking, who knew that? And she plays the piano too, although we didn't see her on keyboards last night. And she writes the songs, yes, and she writes the songs. She did a cover of On Broadway that was amazing, just amazing. So I guess I'm telling you this because when you think that you might be too tired or too old for that nonsense or whatever other stupid thing you say in your head, you're not. Okay, just go, because once you get there, it's fabulous. And yes, I fell into bed at 11 o'clock, but you know what? I'm here today. I made sense, right? My sentences were complete. Okay, yeah. Now, as a minister, I don't normally go out on both Friday and Saturday nights. I don't know if I recommend that, but it was a fabulous expression of life that I totally enjoyed and would never have done if my friends had said, come on, let's go. It's like, okay, I'll drive to LA, no problem. Yeah, it was great, totally worth it. All right, so we have a few events happening here. After service, we have our breath meditation with Ingrid over here in the practitioner room. So you want to join her for that? Yes, people like that. It's really nice. This Wednesday is Interfaith Night, where we have a guest speaker coming in from another faith tradition. So this week it's Joseph Santosh from Our Lady of Assumption Catholic Church. He is here. He was scheduled previously and had to cancel. He is back this month, and he wants to talk about what the Catholic Church is like now, not the one you left 30 years ago. Because, like every other spiritual tradition, it has evolved over time as well. So do come and support our guest speaker. We'd love to see you on a Wednesday night from 7 to 8 for the speaker, and come a little early. Come at 6:15 with Nisa and do a little meditation. It's a lovely Wednesday night. Please come. We really want our interfaith guests to know that we're interested, because we are, right? Okay, good answer. All right. Reminder, too, that our bookstore is having its spring cleaning sale. There are bargains. There's music, books, tchotchkes, jewelry, all kinds of things on sale for $1, $2, $3, $5. You know, let's clear it out. We're going to make room for some new stuff. We're going to sell off some books that, you may have wanted to pick up and then thought, well, I don't know if I'm going to read it. This is the time to stock up. You just put them in the stack on your nightstand with the other books you're going to read someday, right? But good books and all kinds of pretty things. So make sure you stop by the bookstore, and then you can watch during the summer as we restock it with new and exciting gifts and books for you to enjoy. All right, do we have any other announcements? Yes, Graham.
There's room in the count team if you like numbers.
If you like numbers, if you like prosperity, perhaps you'd like to be part of the prosperity consciousness of this community. Once a month, give or take, join a friend, sit in the office, count all the money, and make us prosperous actually in the bank. It's helpful to get from you to the bank, and that's what you can do, and bless it all along the way. Please talk to Graham or talk to one of your board members about joining the team. It's a great way to contribute. Thank you. And like I said, we've got progress in the offices. We're starting to get the walls ready to paint. And it's really pretty. And if you haven't sat on the new couch or chairs, feel free to try them out. They're quite nice. And I think that's all I have. Anybody else? All right, my friends, let's stand up and rock out to Eddie Watkins.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say God loves you and I love you.